said she's already inside?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's got to leave.
Okay. All right, thank you. You can hand her this as well.
Okay.
All right. And some of you all can come over to Megan right here. Okay, what's your last name?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
When I had my son, I was 35. And I kept telling the nurse that something wasn't right. And she really ignored me. And so I ended up, I coded while I was giving birth. And I ended up spending a week up on the heart floor because they had to get my heart back into rhythm, where I strained my heart giving birth. So that was always a hurt birth experience for me. And so I know I wanted to come to see something like this because if I went through that, I wonder what some others have gone through.
Unsure of what the balance held, I touched my belly, overwhelmed by what I had been chosen to perform. But then an angel came one day, told me to kneel down and pray, for unto me a man-child would be born. Whoa, this crazy circumstance, I knew his life deserved a chance, but everybody told me to be smart. Think of your career, they said. Lauren, baby, use your head. But instead I chose to use my heart. Now the joy of my world lives in Zion. Now the joy of my world lives in Zion.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for coming out tonight, and thank you so much for your patience. You all are at the We Birthed This live storytelling showcase. Are you all in the right place? Yeah. Okay, all right, perfect.
Her love flows like the water. Her love is stable like the earth. We breathe in her love like the air that surrounds us. It heals like emerging pure from the fire. She is the spirit of everything that has come before us. Who is there that will acknowledge a black mother's worth?
The summer of 2021, Kate B. Reynolds Charitable Trust put out a call to action. Okay, the data says this. We know that. The medical practitioners know this. Kate B. Reynolds said, how can we dive in a little more to see what's causing this? Are there common themes that are happening with folks who live in the 27105 zip code? So essentially, with black and brown moms, how can we get that data from them?
Us reaching out to Boston Thurman United, we say, hey, we saw this request for proposal where they're trying to tackle infant mortality. And so we found zip code data where we say, hey, maybe we can focus here and we could talk to moms about what it is, what barriers they're seeing, what issues they're seeing as the reason as to why we're having all these rates.
Moms were like, okay, you want to hear my story?
You want my story for what? Nobody's ever asked me that before.
And to be honest, we had to do a total reset and say, okay, what are we going to do with these stories? Are we going to write them down? Are we going to share them with people? And we knew that moms needed that type of accountability. They needed those sorts of answers. They wanted to know who was going to be in the room when they told their stories.
Come in, have dinner, And then we think, hey, you know, we got grounding, we got our licensed clinical therapist there, so when they do open up, you know, if they get traumatized or secondary trauma for hearing somebody else's story, you know, they're there to kind of take them out and come back when they're ready.
I started having back pain around 36 weeks. They said it was fine at the doctor's appointment and sent me home. Well, a week and a half later, the pain was still there, so I went to the emergency room. And the nurse or the doctor, they pushed on my cervix so hard that I began to clot. But they didn't see an issue and was sending me home. Said I was fine. But when I went to the restroom, it had got worse, and I was admitted to the hospital for labor.
I remember going to the downtown health plaza and them telling me that I didn't have a doctor. I had nursing students. Every time I went to the doctor, it was someone different. So I always felt like no one cared about me because no one cared about me enough to have a stable doctor. So it was almost as if society was showing me that they didn't care.
When we see a number on a page, we think, that's the inequity of the world. When we hear someone's story, we realize that someone didn't have a good journey. And gosh, my journey was pretty good. Why wasn't theirs? And it starts to really make you think about the person behind the data.
I've actually been working in healthcare for the last 20 years myself. And I see it, I hear it. A young black mother or patient come in for medical treatment, and they already got everything figured out. She's on Medicaid, she's a single mom, and she's aggressive. Mm-hmm. The perceived negative narrative about me and black women is what I see as the biggest challenge for us in healthcare.
There's many women that go through that journey that don't feel like they had choices. Communication wasn't where it needed to be, so patients felt railroaded into some of the choices they had to make during their pregnancy. And when outcomes weren't what they thought they would be, they felt that those were the reasons for that.
And that's where we see that kind of reinforcement of that top-down approach, where doctors are not considering that lived experience enough.
And so what we know, and the data has shown, and there has been study after study to talk about the weathering effect and how black women or any particular woman who had to endure that day after day, year after year, it begins to take a toll on our bodies physically, and then our bodies will tell the tale.
Our superpower should not have to be resilience all the damn time.
That's right.
Like literally, we literally just have to go, 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 go. It's like we're programmed to have a battery in our back.
You got to do all that and still be belittled as if this is not all that you're carrying on top of you. And it's like, no, you didn't go through what you went through. And I'm about to fall out on the floor. And for you to tell me this, it's just like a smack in the face.
So we're carrying that load, but other people aren't even recognizing that we're carrying that load.
Add to it. Basically, that's what Birth Stories is about, telling about your experiences, the good and the bad. And I had a bad experience. So when I came to this safe place where we could talk about things that we didn't talk about when we had our babies and stuff, I felt comfortable. I felt like I was in a safe place, and other women went through things that I went through, and I thought that I was alone. So it gave me a sense of feeling safe and sharing my story.
So I went through with the surgery, and it was successful. The delivery of my first son was also successful, and life moved forward. Though the winds of change would often blow through, a constant in my life was my big brother. 2 years my senior and a student at Winston-Salem State University, my brother was always there for me. Taking me to appointments and making sure that I was good. He was like Uncle Dad. And I would need him during labor the second time around.
I think one thing that stands out to me is the depth of the stories, right? So it was more than just about the birth story. it really went into their lives, early lives, and kind of how it led up to those birth stories and where they are today.
And my baby was born. 22 hours after I had her, they said that because of COVID, that they were sending me home, even though I couldn't walk. I went home in a wheelchair. And weeks later, I was cleaning and talking on the phone, cooking my chicken and rice. I went into the bedroom and something happened. I passed out. I couldn't talk, I could not walk, but I refused to go to that hospital. So I went to sleep. When I woke up, the headache was so unbearable. My boyfriend called the ambulance, but by the time we made it to the hospital, I had passed out unconscious. Now the ambulance told the hospital that I had overdosed on medication. Wait. Metformin and blood pressure medication. Now, I'm not even sure where they even got the idea that I would even abuse medication, because I have never, ever in my life taken drugs.
And a lot of people don't know that with birth, you deal with depression, you deal with self-esteem. It's just a lot with it. And so a lot of times you be afraid to talk about certain things, especially when giving birth. You don't want to tell nobody you're depressed, or you don't want to tell nobody that you feel a certain type of way. You're afraid that they might take your baby or something away, or think you're dealing with other things when you're not, when you're just feeling emotional.
When I was 19 years old, my mama died, and then when I was 20, my sister died. And I didn't have nobody to talk to, so I was going to a counselor trying to talk to them. I just felt like when I was talking to them, they were judging me. So I didn't talk to nobody, and I started holding myself, stuffing inside. Then lately I've been talking to my aunt here and there, but I still won't tell everything. No.
Oftentimes we're trying to figure out, why do Black women tend to have higher preterm births and low birth weight? And eventually it came down to the stressors and the where we live, work, and play oftentimes contribute to stressors. Not necessarily that we are sicker, it is the environment in which we live and work and play that sometimes contribute to those stressors. So
the women who have been participating in this project have been working in kind of small groups together, talking about their stories, but it's a lot more than that. How have you seen sisterhood play a part in the way that these stories have unfolded in their groups?
We as a collective group, not, because you have these purple shirts on, or you're here, or I'm here, or whatever, we all come together and we have cried, we have meditated. Am I right, my ladies that have been in? We have meditated together. We have all felt like, Alexia, yeah, she's a therapist, but she one of us. She on my team, Oh yeah, when Regina got pregnant, that was a whole nother, a whole nother layer.
We have done a community baby shower with Novant Health for the past 3 years. And last year, in 2024, I found out that I was pregnant about a week and a half before the baby shower, and I waited to share with my colleagues that I was pregnant. And it was an exciting time, but it was a little scary, I'll be honest, because I had had complications with my first pregnancy. I actually got strength from their stories and heard about how they didn't know what to say, how they didn't know how to stand up for themselves. And I knew that I had to be that person for my child. And so I actually had my birth plan printed out on a retractable banner. I designed it, so I made sure it was colorful, bright, vibrant colors, and that it was tall, over 6 feet tall, so that no one could say that they did not see it. And that's all that folks were talking about on the labor and delivery floor, because they had never seen that before.
I am light, I am light. I am light, I am light.
We wanted this to be a community-based approach. And so we thought the live performance would be a way to do that, and a way for folks to hear and see what we have heard and seen in these private rooms over the course of the 3 years.
Not the voices in my head. I am not the pieces of the brokenness inside. I am light. I am light.
1996, The Unheard Cry. And it's just so startling that the same thing is still here in 2025. And this paper is August 25th of 1996. And, you know, I understand that the stories that are told and all of the lived experiences that are shared in these rooms with moms are the exact information that practitioners could benefit from.
I think it's important for the medical industry to hear that someone walked out of one of our hospitals and felt that they weren't given any options, and this is what they did to my baby.
When I was invited to my first birth story sharing session, it was like, you want to listen to what happened to me? You think that's important? And these people were just like, yes, it is important, and we want you to share so that we can take that information back and present it to other people so that we can try to stop these things from happening in these communities.
I called one of my friends who lives here in Winston, and I said, every time I say I'm gonna stop teaching, I have moments like this where I said, oh, I love this stuff. I'm not gonna stop.
First of all, we was all kind of standish off because it's a bunch of women, but it just took one person to come out and say, listen, this is what happened. And then when you get emotional and people are crying hearing this story, then that's when people say, well, let me open up. So it took time, but as we felt and knew that this was a safe place and what they provided for us is a safe place, we knew it was a place that we could share our stories and be okay.
Yeah, and the wind is soft. Yeah, for the very first time. Oh, the melody, whoa, spirit, watch the heavens open. Yeah, spirit, can you hear it calling? Yeah.
You know something I find interesting, like little fun fact? Women choose their sperm. Like, it's not like the sperm goes to find the egg. It's like the egg just kind of like lets down her wall and then accepts the sperm. And that
It's the
is
strongest
so
one survive.
cool.
Your baby who getting in there, if it's a girl or boy, they be fighting.
She's like, okay,
it's me.
You got this far. I guess I'll let you in.
And sometimes we have to have these conversations.